Hey, welcome back to Smart Money Mamas. I'm Chelsea Brennan, and today we have a very special guest, my husband Jeremiah. It's his first time on YouTube, so let's be gentle with him, okay? I know one of the biggest difficulties with starting a new money management system in your family is getting on the same page with your spouse, especially when it's an innovative new system like Qube. So Jeremiah agreed to join us to share his journey from very reluctant Qube user to raving fan. So let's see what he has to say. This video is sponsored by Qube Money, a budgeting and digital banking solution rooted in consistent, intentional spending. My husband and I use it every day, so today we're going to share how he finally got on board with using Qube. You can download the Qube Money app and get 2 free months of their premium subscription with the code MONEYMAMA in the video description below. Now, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the little bell for more videos on building generational wealth in a way that feels awesome to you. And without further ado, let's get Jeremiah on here with us. Hey, welcome to your first YouTube video. How you feeling?
Good.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit? I mean, it's weird to be on camera, right?
Yeah.
And we're just going to hope that George doesn't come in because he's downstairs watching his iPad.
Yeah, that's fine. Won't interrupt at all.
So what was your reaction the first time I told you about Qube and that I wanted us to try it as a family?
I thought it was going to be a pain in the neck.
Why did you think it was going to be a pain in the neck, though?
It felt like there were going to be a lot of steps when you go into the store. So me being a stay-at-home dad, having to go to the store and deal with 2 toddlers and figuring out what Qube to open and where to put the money and where to pull it, and instead of just pulling a card out and paying, I was like, this is going to be so much going on when I just want to check out.
It seemed like a lot of steps.
It did. It felt like it was going to be a lot of steps, and then it also felt like it was going to be a little overwhelming because, like, when we go into YNAB, we use YNAB a lot, and when we would go into YNAB, I would just be like, there's a lot of categories. There's a lot of money over here. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. This is why I married a lovely finance expert. And so it just felt like there was going to be a lot going on for just needing to, like, buy groceries.
And I think this is actually really interesting. And for couples where one primary person does manage the money, to me, Qube seemed like such a simplification because A, I wouldn't have to categorize all the transactions, and B, because YNAB overwhelmed you, and so the way you dealt with that was not going into YNAB and instead just texting me all the time of like, do we have this much money in the groceries? Can I buy this tool at the hardware store? And so to me, Qube was like, oh, we're going to get this clarity, but for you, it was going to be a little bit more work.
It was, and that's not a bad thing, but it was definitely like, oh, okay, now I have to take some of this responsibility. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, it hasn't panned out that way at all, which has been good.
And so how did we agree? Because we were definitely on different sides of this, right? You were like, we have this system that works. Why are we fixing something that's not broken?
This system where you do all the work and I swipe the card.
And then I was like, really wanted to try this. So how did we agree to give it a try?
Yeah, so we decided to do a month. We were like, we're going to fund the Qubes for a month and just see how it goes, which sounded easy enough. Like how many, in my head, how many transactions could we do in a month? Because I didn't sit down at the every week and run them. Turns out a lot. But no, we decided to sit down and just give it a month and see what happens. There was no risk to doing that.
Yeah. And so what we did, guys, was we took our 10 most common spending categories, things like groceries, dining out, money for the kids, fun money, fuel. There was 10 of them. And I would recommend after practicing this that not to start with 10 because for me, that was a big change. For Jeremiah, it was definitely a lot of categories too. But I think that when you're reluctant, probably picking like your 2 or 3 biggest problem categories, maybe a problem category for you and a problem category for your spouse would make it easier to test. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think that makes it easier too to try and get somebody on board because that was one of my other fears was like, okay, I'm going to open this app and do I have to split groceries from household goods if we go to a box store or what needs to happen where, and it doesn't need to be that complicated. And I think absolutely starting out to do like, for us it was groceries and it was dining out. Those were our
big problem categories.
Always were our problem categories. And so being able to actually see that was definitely helpful.
I actually think home maintenance and household goods was also one of those places though, because well, I have food category problems with you. You go to the hardware store a lot more than you think you do. And
no, I don't.
And it's always like $40-$50, which might not seem a lot in one swoop, but when we do it 5 times a month, that was a category that I found in YNAB. I only ever budgeted like $100 to $150 a month, and we always went over. And so that was a place for us to kind of get on the same page too.
Yeah, it did. And it helped me with the projects too, to be like, okay, you need to actually figure this out the first time and maybe like use YouTube and figure out what's going on so you don't go to the hardware store 15 times to change a filter.
Absolutely. So if you're watching with us, comment below, what is your biggest problem spending category? What would you want to test with Qube? All right, so we got into using Qube. We started doing our trial of the first month. And what were the first things that you found that you actually liked about it instead of being frustrated by?
I liked the real-time ability to see how much money was in each category. So like with YNAB, when we were using YNAB, you got to log in, you got to kind of take a peek, and you got to know either forward thinking or backward thinking, like, I only have this much left. When you're using the Qubes, it's like you go in, you're like, okay, I have $150 to spend at the grocery store this month, or this trip, or that's what I've got left. Especially as you get down towards the end of the month, when you're like, where are we at? Where are things at? You can just kind of pop it open and be like, okay, I'm here and I can buy these things, and that's been really helpful to see to keep the budget kind of level and to know that that's where you're at.
And it is one of the great things about Qube in that it's proactive. And so with YNAB, one of the difficult parts that we had was that unless it was updated on an almost daily basis, the numbers weren't accurate, right? Like we might say that we have $300 in the grocery store budget, but maybe on Tuesday you went to the grocery store and spent $200. And so I think there's money there that's not actually there. And so that was a part too, when we talk about balancing responsibilities, updating that. Sometimes you would take that for granted of just thinking that the numbers were right when they weren't actually right. And it seems to have given you a lot more autonomy in the budget.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to put it, that it's more of a proactive way to budget instead of a reactive way, whereas you spend the money and then you go back to make sure that you didn't overspend in a category. You're like, oh, I didn't because I couldn't.
Was there anything that you started to notice about our spending as we used Qube?
So one of the things was definitely that you get to see how often you actually go to different places. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, I go to the grocery store once a week. And then with Qube, you would go in and be like, oh, you can easily see like, oh, I just went to the grocery store 2 days ago. And why am I here again? What happened that I was here 2 days ago and now I'm back again? Whereas in your mind, when you're not actually looking at the budget all the time, you're like, all right, it's once a week. I go to the grocery store once a week. And you're like, no, you went 3 times last week. 3 times. I don't know what you bought, but you went 3 times.
And I think that helped too with dining out, is that we could see, okay, how many times a week are we actually ordering food, and really be able to look at it. And this is a place, guys, if you're going to do a month or a 2-month trial, which you can get 2 months free of premium with our link below this video. But if you're going to do that trial with just a few categories, you can either pull your old budget or pull your bank statements if you didn't used to budget, and pull how much you spent on average in the last 2 or 3 months in just those couple categories. It's easier to handle than doing your whole budget, but it'll let you see as you talk to your spouse over that trial period, like, hey, we only spent this much on groceries this month with Qube, but historically we've actually spent $200-300 more than that, and this has saved us a lot of money. And so that's a really good place to see. But we also found intentional places, like in the summer, we take the boys to the aquarium, making sure that we bring food for them, because it always seemed like, oh, it's easy to just grab lunch there. It's not that expensive, but that adds up, and it means that we have less money in the boys' budget to do fun things with them.
Yeah, those little things that you realize, you're like, with the aquarium, it's like, oh, this, lunch ends up being tickets to something else next week, whereas you're like, oh, okay, got it, right, just bring some peanut butter and jelly, because they don't know the difference.
So we've been using this app for about a year now, and about 2 weeks in, you sent me a text, and what did you say?
It was just like, I love this app. Like, it's great, because it really helped me understand where the money was going each month. Like, I go out with the boys. I spend a lot of the money because I'm running the errands and going out with the boys, and so it has really helped me to understand where those purchases and being more intentional with the purchases as opposed to just kind of swiping at random.
That text was so much fun because I was on a team meeting with all the girls on Smart Money Mamas, and I was like, guys, you're not going to believe this. Jeremiah did not want to use this app, and now he's texting me unprompted how much he loves it. So that's fantastic. But there's no money management system. There's no budgeting tool that's perfect. And so let's take a minute and get into what are some of the frustrations. So where are some places where you're still feeling frustrated with Qube?
So one of the major places was for us, it's in our fuel category, but it was always with places that put a hold on your card. So like at the gas station, it's different from every gas station. It's $200 at one, it's $150 at another. And like, I get that. That's how they deal with it. But knowing that you have enough money to get fuel, but you don't know how much money is going to be held, gets frustrating, because whatever, I could be a pain in the neck if you want, but I don't want to go inside. I've got the kids in the car. I don't want to get everybody out. I don't want to deal with it.
Jeremiah has this real fear, guys, as a stay-at-home dad, that if he leaves the boys in the car and somebody sees a man leaving the boys in the car, someone is going to break the window and call the police immediately. Upon him leaving the car, which I get is totally valid. But you also have COVID going on, so you don't want to go inside.
I don't want to. I don't want to go see people anyway. So knowing that, like, towards the end of the month is when it usually happens of, like, okay, I know I have enough money to fill the truck, but I don't know if I have enough money at this gas station because I don't know if they're going to put $150 hold. And you can get around it by moving money from different cubes and stuff, so you're never actually stuck. But it does feel like extra steps, right? That, okay, I got to sit here, I got to move money, which is quick and easy, but it's still just not getting in and filling up. So, like, if somebody's yelling at you from the back seat that they want more clementines because they've had 6 already, and you just want to fill up the truck and go, it's one of those, take some extra thinking.
Yeah. And I think that this is one of those places, too, where there's some privilege in this, right? So if you're someone who's used to using a debit card, who doesn't always have enough for the hold, who's used to using cash, this won't be any different from you. But if you're used to using a credit card and you have enough well enough credit limit that you've never thought about this before, it is something that we've had to process, that like some gas stations have that $50 hold, and some, you went to one yesterday that had a $200 hold, and we were flabbergasted, right? And so this is an element, guys, too, where the cube, when you open a cube, it's only showing the amount in that cube available on your card. And so while even your cube account as a whole has plenty and plenty of money for the hold, it'll reject the hold if it doesn't have that much in that specific cube. And so that can be a little bit frustrating, but the ways to work around it are either to keep enough money in your cube as like the minimum balance of that cube is what your hold is at your local gas station. Or like Jeremiah was saying, do instant transfer. So you can transfer between your cubes instantly. And so you could take money from your groceries, give yourself enough from the hold, and then as soon as the hold comes off, put the money back. That's some extra steps, but it's not going inside and talking to people. So.
No, it's not. So it's balancing that.
What else is a little frustrating to you?
You're beholden to the internet and your phone. You are better at this than I am of opening a cube before you go into the store. For me, I do it at the cash register, but it's kind of learning the stores. Like, I know for some reason every CVS and drugstore near us, whatever they built them out of, there is no service by any of them in the pharmacy. None in any of them. So whatever they built them with, good for them.
It's very secure.
It's very secure. But if you don't remember to open your cube, then you've got to walk back to the front of the store, find a window where there's enough internet to open the cube. So that's one of those, you need to think ahead on it, which is fine, but isn't always my strong suit. So that's one place where it can get a little bit frustrating.
That is a little bit a Jeremiah problem. But I think it happens with other people too. And so one of the things that I've developed, and this is what Jeremiah just mentioned, is that you can open it before you go in the store, and then you can set the time limit that you want. So the automatic time limit for a cube to be open is a half an hour. I've switched my auto time limit to be 2 hours so that if I'm in the grocery store or something, I have a little bit more time. And what some spouses have done is say, okay, my husband, my partner is not completely on board. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cube just for them, for their spending, that just says like Jeremiah's money. We don't do this, but this is Jeremiah's money. And then with their app, just set that cube as always open. That is an option. And then they don't have to think about opening and closing the cube. It's not the ideal use of cube because you don't necessarily know where they're spending that money. But it puts them at some kind of limit, right? It'll cut them off once they've spent the money in their cube. And they don't have to worry about it. So there are some workarounds, but yeah, if you don't have internet, that can be a difficult thing.
Yeah, and it's only been frustrating a few times. Like I said, around us, you just figure out which stores it is and remember.
Yeah. And what we did too, we just got back from vacation, my Ravenclaw sweatshirt. We were at Universal Studios, and so we have a family fun vacation cube that I just left open the whole 4 days we were there, and so then we didn't really have to think about it, and we could use it like a normal card.
Yeah, that was great.
Anything else?
It's a little frustrating that you don't get points, but as you pointed out to me, we have saved so much money in our budget that it doesn't add up to the few points that we get. But that was one where it just felt like, normally we throw everything on the credit card and you get a whole bunch of points, and then COVID happened, so we got a lot of points because we never used them. But yeah, that was one where you doesn't feel like you're getting the benefit of spending the money, but again, that's kind of a massively privileged point of view of like you're earning extra money when spending your money.
But I also think this is like a societal, we've been trained that like the amazingness of credit card points and we all need credit card points. When reality is you earn at most 5% back in your expenses, right? And so do you think with some intentional spending and you control, you save more than 5%? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. There's actually been some really interesting research about how people that are spending with credit cards, even if they're paying them off every month, spend 25 to 50% more than people who aren't spending with credit cards. So there's almost this little nudge in our brain that like, you know, you're not sure if you should buy something or if it's in your budget and you're like, but I'm going to get points. Right. And so it's that last like little thing that pushes you over the edge to make the expense.
It's almost like they spend a ton of money on marketing to figure out how to mess with us.
Almost like they understand how to manage. All right. So those are some of the frustrations, but do you still think it's worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's resulted in less money conversations, and it saved me so much time. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So part of this video is supposed to be how to convince a reluctant spouse to get on board. So you've got somebody in front of you. They're like, this sounds like a pain in the neck. What are you telling them?
It's not. So it helps save you a bunch of money because you can see the categories where you're overspending. And even if, you know, depending on how you are doing your budgeting as a family, right? Like if your husband is in charge of the budget and the money, you can go to them if your spouse is in charge of the budget and the money, you can go to them and say, hey, you always complain to me that I overspend in these categories, but I can't see it. I don't fully understand it. This is a way for us both see it. And if I can get my category under control, maybe you can get your category under control. You know, maybe don't go at it combatively like that, but you can be like, this is going to help me get this part where you're complaining to me all the time. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, you can kind of stretch the number of categories slowly, get them to try it for a month or a couple months to see and show them like, hey, we just saved a couple extra $100 because we could see what was happening. Mm. And you're not, the one part that's, we've kind of made it sound like you're never actually stuck because of the internal transfer. Let's say you want to go out and you see that you're low and you're like, oh, well, we can't go out now. Like you're not actually stuck. You could be like, well, we underspent on groceries by a couple $100 and we really want to go out tonight. We can transfer that money and know that we've got 2 weeks left in the month. And so this is enough to eat and we can go out and still do that. Or you can just roll the money over to the next month. So you're never actually stuck, which is great.
Which is your budget should always be flexible like that. I think Qube makes it extra easy. We split our grocery and our dining out budgets because we want to see where we're spending that money. But there's definitely a case of, depending on how crazy the boys are being, depending on both of our mental health, how much we cook versus we dine out. And so if we find we're in a month where we're just overwhelmed, we will just move some of that grocery budget to dining out and do a little more Grubhub that month and save ourselves some pain. Yeah. But it's worth a try, guys. Really, this was something that, it was the first time we changed our budgeting system in 11 years to download Qube. It was a big, big change for us. And yet within 2 weeks, we were both completely excited and on board and saving money. And so my last recommendation for you is give it that try. Use the code MONEYMAMA in the link below so you get 2 free months. It's 2 months easy trial. And then think about, what are your goals? Like if you can cut your spending by a certain amount, is there something that you do as a family? Is there a debt you can pay off that'll be a huge relief off your back, right? Is there a way that you can celebrate as a family? Because that is another way, not only just the success of the app, but actually having this really positive, specific outcome will help get your whole family on board long term. So good luck, Jeremiah. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It was so fun having Jeremiah share his side of our budgeting journey with Qube. And I hope it was helpful in thinking about how to approach your partner with using Qube. I think the first step you want to take is really listening to their concerns, because you are making a change and you are going to have to change some of your habits with your money. That is a real thing. So first, listen to their concerns without rebutting them. Then have a conversation about what are some experiences you've heard about with Qube or some solutions to the things that they are raising. That could be letting them watch this video with Jeremiah, or this could be just offering some of the solutions you heard in this video or in the associated blog post in the link below. The third thing you're going to want to do is decide on a trial period you can agree on. So you have the 2 free months with the Money Mama code. We definitely want you to check that out. But maybe 2 months is too much for you guys. So you guys agree on 2 or 3 categories for 1 month, and you're going to see how it goes. Make sure it's something that you can both agree with. And then the fourth step that I really want you to take, and this is important, is having an open dialogue about how it's going in those first few weeks. This was really important for Jeremiah and I, because some of the concerns that he had raised did have solutions, but if he just got frustrated and I didn't give him a place to air those frustrations, we wouldn't have created solutions and we wouldn't have found a budgeting tool that has really changed how we manage money and saved us so much in impulse spending, in mindless spending, because now we have to look at the app, we have to open the Qube, and we have to make really intentional spending decisions, which is a beautiful thing. So download the app at the link below. Make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the little bell for more information on building generational wealth in a way that feels awesome for you, and more Qube videos, because we're going to be creating more tutorials and more walkthroughs for Qube so you can make it the most powerful tool possible in your life. I'll see you next time.